Most of you guys listening to this right now have probably never questioned yourself, where does the concept of picking up girls come from? Seriously, think about it. I mean, we've all done it. We've all either gone on Google or we've gone on YouTube and we've typed in how to pick up girls or picking up girls. And it's honestly a core concept that is crucial to most guys' lives, and it's provided an avenue for many guys to get into the influencer realm to talk about this specifically, including myself. I'm no more special, but a big but. I like big butts and I cannot like. Okay, let me get back to it. But a big old butt, like a big old badonkadonk butt. Seriously, getting back to it. I'm not going to teach you how to pick up girls. There's so many videos on that. I'm here to teach you the lore of picking up girls and where all of this came from and how it all ties into red pill, black pill, looks maxing, and all these other things. And honestly, to get a better understanding of those, you should probably check out my first YouTube video. It goes over the concept of where all of these different things came from. Yes, the claviculars, the Myrons, the King 68, all those guys. The reason why they're relevant and some of their topics are relevant all stem from this one thing. It is my very first YouTube video. Again, I highly recommend you check it out. It is so cool. You will understand the lore. This is something that your great uncles, your grandfathers, all those guys in the early 90s and early 2000s were going through. And this is why red pill is relevant today. Bro, it's a whole doozy. Wait till you find out. But today we're going to focus on a special someone. And look at here. This is what Google says itself. AI Google to be specific. The godfather of all pickup game art is Erik von Markovik. Remember that name. He also went by the nickname Mystery. And as you can see in the picture that I have put up, it says it is fair to say that Erik was a major pioneer and popularizer of modern pickup artists, PUA. It says in early 2000s he was popularizing terms like neg, Kino, and social calibration. Those terms are very relevant to today's pickup games and methods, and the reason why I say that is even though you don't understand these terms, you've probably applied it or heard it from some other person you've seen giving you pickup game, right? And let's go down and talk about what they are. Neg. Neg means to put a girl down in order for her to kind of see social value in you. Like you basically knock a girl off her high horse and let her know, okay, you're not really a 10, you're kind of like a 6, 7. I'm serious. Maybe you may have heard it as, oh, be mean to her first and then be nice to her. Because she'll try to seek validation if you're mean to her. She'll wonder why. Because she's so pretty and she's used to everybody being nice and being simps. So that's why you've got to be mean to her. Yes, I guarantee you, you have heard some form of negging in your life. I've even used it a couple of times myself, but it's not really my angle. I don't like being mean to girls like that, but I've seen it work for other guys. To each their own, you know? Now, the other thing there is here is Kino. And I think a lot of people know what Kino is. I bet this is a first for a lot of you hearing this word, but you definitely understand the concept. And it's the psychology of, you know, breaking the physical touch boundary with a girl, where you try to put your hand on her in an edgy way, but it's safe because it's not like you're putting it on her butt or, you know, invading her space too much. You may just reach out and touch her forearm when you're talking at a date, or you may bump shoulders with her while you're walking on the street, just to kind of test the waters and see if she is comfortable with your touch. Because a lot of you guys already know, if you are in the pickup game, that if a girl lets you make contact with her and doesn't react, she's accepting of you. I'm serious. That is something I've known for a while. And it's very shocking to hear that this whole concept comes from this guy, Erik the Mystery Man. Yeah, so whatever other influencer you've watched and they've told you, oh yeah, test the physical barrier, or physical touch barrier, sorry. Yeah, they're not original. They kind of just revamped it. It all came from Erik. All this pickup stuff came from Erik. And lastly, on here on Google, it says social calibration. I know. Social calibration sounds like something that is self-explanatory based on the words itself, but it's really not that simple. It's actually more so about manipulating the social dynamic to bend to your will. You create the temperature of the room. I guess in another way, you could kind of put it as you're being the alpha in group situations, and people are kind of abiding by how you're conducting yourself, and they're doing what you're suggesting, type of thing. You're getting people to react the way you expect them to react, and subconsciously they're doing it thinking that it's their own free will, but you're kind of doing it. It's manipulation. It's manipulation, okay? It is what it is. If we're keeping it an absolute 100,000 gazillion percent, all of picking up girls is kind of manipulation. But that's a whole different topic for another video. We don't have to deep dive into that now. But seriously, it is. I mean, think about it. Anyway, going back to Mr. Erik. A lot of people will say that his first real dive into teaching picking up girls was with this book, The Mystery Method, aka Mystery being his name, How to Get Beautiful Women into Bed. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what the book is about, right? And if you look at the description, it is said to be that it is for every man who has always wondered why some guys have all the luck. Luck as in getting laid. Mystery, considered by many to be the world's greatest pickup artist, finally reveals his secret for finding and forming relationships with some of the world's most beautiful women. Mystery gained mainstream public attention for his role in Neil Strauss's New York Times best-selling expose, The Game. Now he has written the definitive handbook of the art of picking up girls. He developed his unique method over years of observing social dynamics and interacting with women in clubs to learn how to overcome the guard that many women put up to deflect come-ons from average, frustrated chumps. His tips include: give more attention to her less attractive friend at first so your target will get jealous and try to win your attention. Or also always approach a woman within 3 seconds of noticing her. If a woman senses your hesitation, her perception of your value will be lower. Don't be picky. Approach as many groups of people in a bar as you can and entertain them with fun conversation. Come on now. This is similar to what a lot of guys will tell you, and this is why I'm saying Erik gets the credit for being the pickup artist pioneer. And I'm not just saying it. We already saw what AI has to say about it. You can go on Reddit. There's plenty of guys who will tell you, like your uncles, if they're big pickup artist games, they know about this guy. I didn't really know about this guy growing up because at the time I was legit, I was watching Kids Next Doors, and I wasn't paying attention to what other guys, obviously, who were men, were doing at this time. But speaking of which, he elevated from a book to a TV show series, literally called, guess what? The Pickup Artist. And boy, oh boy, that's when it really got interesting. Because again, as an average guy, let's be honest, we're not reading books like that. What? No one's reading books, but TV. Oh yeah, we'll watch the fuck out of something, That's just the reality of it, and it's true. Don't be mad at me. Just accept it's human nature for men. And that's why I think a lot of the pickup artist game stuff that people get ideas and inspiration from, it came from his show. Because he would take, and I don't mean to be rude when I say this, I'm just saying this because this is the term that's relevant. He would take incel looking guys on his shows and then basically restyle them, reinvigorate their confidence, and have them go to clubs or other social outings and cold approach women to pick them up. And of course, he would have them mic'd up and he'd record the conversations and all that stuff. And honestly, I think that birthed the whole picking up girls on YouTube, all those clips that we've seen. He had done it first. Yeah, that whole niche of picking up girls and recording it and seeing how girls react to questions and vlogs and all these things. Erik was basically the founder of that because he was doing it first. And it's documented on MTV. MTV has his 2 seasons of The Pickup Artist, spanning from the year 2007 to 2008. And that's my point. 2007 to 2008. For his shows, he tells you everything about his past that you need to know of what led him to become a pickup artist. And he also introduces some of the guys he has on his shows. Now, personally, I think some of those guys probably could have just changed their style and then figured out how to pick up girls by trial and error. But some of those other guys, you can tell they really needed help. You can't just take my word, of course. I'm going to play these clips and make sure you hear what they're saying. I swear you'll be entertained.
3-year-old virgin plus 5 years.
Inso.
My sister and my mom, they'll kind of take turns, and they will,
Inso.
wax my eyebrow to make it so I
Inso, you get the point. Alright.
Think I'm gay.
And after this, I'm going to show the clip of Erik himself, and he explains his past.
Was the ultimate geek, rejected by hundreds of beautiful women.
Now, the one thing to note about Erik is that he's still tall. Even though he's skinny and he was wearing glasses, yeah, I get it, he probably looked kind of nerdy, but he had height. He was definitely height maxing. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to make it relevant is that I want you to understand that Erik, sure, may have had a rough start in his approach with beautiful girls. He says they didn't even notice him. But if we take some things and we take a deep dive look into what Erik looks like, he did definitely revamp his style. He looked boring in his little pictures that he had before. You can tell he looks more eccentric now, so he definitely catches people's eyes, which, again, some people may tell you that for looks maxing, maybe that's what you need to do. You may need some accessories. That's what the modern day thing is. Get some rings, get a piercing, maybe get some tats, get some bling, all these things, right? Back then, it was basically looking like a rock star. You have to remember, this is like pre-2010. Yeah. I think Lizzie McGuire was the style back then, if you ever knew how she dressed. Or Zoe 101. That's besides the point, really. You don't even need to know that. But the reason why I brought up the heist thing is that he just needed to focus on switching up his style. And yes, he had to learn the hard way by picking up girls, trial and error. But the other thing is that for him, he wasn't starting off that bad. Like, no homo, he's not an ugly guy. You can tell he has a strong jawline. Probably means he has good testosterone. You know, his face seems pretty symmetrical. I don't necessarily know what girls look for in a guy's face, but you can look at Erik and tell that he's not an ugly guy. You know, he's not as bad as some of these other incels were put on there. Erik has a good set of hair. Some of these other incels, their hair was kind of all over the place. And the most important thing is that you pair in the fact that he has a good jawline, which is a good biological marker for women to base how much testosterone you have. It's subconscious. Again, that's the science part of it. You don't really need to know that. But the height, he doesn't have his height listed, but based on how you see him looking in certain pictures with other normal people, or walking in the crowd amongst other normal people, or even towering over a girl, like he literally looks down on a girl. He doesn't look down with his eyes. He looks down, like tilts his neck. That right there tells you that he's probably anywhere from 6'3" to 6'6". He's in that tall range. He's not 6'2", he's taller than 6'2". So he had things going for him, and some of these other guys he's trying to teach, they didn't even have the jawline. And worst of all, they didn't have the height. They're like 5'8", which is unfair because the way his show works is that whoever does the pickup artist game the worst, they get sent home. It's a reality TV show, of course. Somebody has to get sent home. So whoever's not executing well is getting sent home. And the issue with that is sometimes the guys who don't have any facial aesthetics or height aesthetics, they have the style because they got styled by Erik's stylist, but you can have the style and all that and still not seem like a viable option for a girl to go home with at night. I don't know what to say. It's true, and that's black pilling. That's a whole different topic we'll get down to later down the road. But I think this led to red pill because guys would do the pickup artist stuff. They would do the research. They would watch hundreds of hours of YouTube videos. They would read books. They would listen to people speak. They would get advice from their homeboys. Even from some of the girls that they know, their mothers, their sisters, their aunts, their grandma, they would get advice on all different types of levels and still have a trouble picking up a girl. And then that leads to asking, well, if what we've been taught about picking up girls isn't working, and we've tried with 10s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60, 80, hundreds of girls, and I still haven't gotten laid, why is that? So first was the questioning of the method and its applicability, but then came the frustration. The frustration stemmed from, as guys, you already know, whether you're at homecoming, you're at prom, you go to a concert, you go to the club, you go to the beach, wherever you go to pick up girls. I remember my first place that I tried was the mall. Regardless, wherever you go to pick up girls, you are most likely going with friends. You know how it is. You dare each other. Oh, bro, you go over there and talk to that girl. Maybe you may even give each other a pickup line. But you're just trying to see if you're able to get a girl's number. We all know what it is. We've all done it. And it's fun as hell. Good times. But the thing is, when you do that with your friend group, you will see sometimes one friend get rejected. Then the next friend goes to the same exact girl and he gets accepted. I know you're probably thinking, okay, sure, there's preference and blah, 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 blah. But sometimes it wouldn't be preference, especially if you can say that the guys were the same height, they had the same color eyes, they had similar hairstyles. The only thing that was different was probably the execution and physically, or I should say more specifically, facially, how they looked. Physically, for sure. Obviously, it helps if the other friend is ripped and has veins on his forearms. Girls love that crap in middle school, high school, and, you know, early 20s. It is what it is. You just look like you're an athletic dude, right? So, you take that, and guys question, well, we've both been taught the same game. We both use the same pickup line. And we have similar features, we just don't exactly look alike. What could it be? Yeah, you can imagine. Cue that SpongeBob episode. Yep. Be ugly and be proud. Because that's what guys started dumbing it down to. That must have been the only difference of why that they weren't getting girls. Because they would try to be charismatic, still weren't getting laid. They would try to be charming, still weren't getting laid. They would try to change their style, still wasn't getting laid. But then their friend, who would do the same exact thing, and objectively looked more facially attractive and physically attractive, they were getting all the girls when they do it. And that's hypergamy. The top 20 or 25% of men get all the girls. Yeah, so what does that mean for the other 75 or 80% of men? Especially if you're like the bottom 30% of men. That's tough. That is tough, man. That is so tough to swallow. But that's what led to the red pill. And that's the whole funny business about the red pill. It's a pill that you have to swallow because it is how life is. And we're going to get into that in a whole different video, because that video, I'm going to deep dive into it. But this video was just focused on talking about, you know, the whole lore behind picking up girls, where it came from, and how it led to what we know today as the concepts of looks maxing, black pill, red pill, and all that stuff. Because somebody had to go through this notion first of, let's at least try putting ourselves out there and getting girls. And many men tried. Many men got rejected. And they went back into the manosphere, opened their third eye again, and were like, yeah, picking up girls isn't the only thing, and it doesn't guarantee you're going to get a girl, because a girl can still reject you no matter how much game you have. So what else must it be? And that is how we're going to segue into the birth of the red pill. Yeah, make sure you tune into the next video. Subscribe, like. Oh, there's so much more to envelop. Especially when we get to the black pill, it's going to be dark. Not because the pill is black, but Black pill is like the last pill men take who have the worst, and it's usually incels. I can't wait to break that down. Anyway, this is Gamer's Perspective. This is my perspective. This is the research I've done. Let me know what you think in the comments, and share your experiences if you have anything like that that you can contribute to, whether it's, oh yeah, I have witnessed my friends all go and approach the same girl. She rejected a lot of them, but she said yes to one. And then also mention if it's a pattern. Is it that one friend gets all the girls effortlessly? Well, like I said, put in the comments. Let's hear what you've got to say. Peace.